Okay. So double option question. It means there is a suggestion given already. Like they say, we have to do this, right? Let's say we have to. We're going to use this, but you're giving your own opinion. In this case, we have the idea of oil. They say that oil is going to diminish one day, but anyway, yeah, it says like anyway we have to think of other options. Yeah. So they tell you here oil. They discuss some oil issues here. So it is not similar to any of other essays. So can you repeat once more? Can I just have a look? Yeah. So the world is heavily dependent on oil energy, yes, which is unsustainable. What does it mean unsustainable? Unsustainable.
Like
not stable. Like let's say not reliable. Yeah. Not reliable source. Yeah. So and we have to choose another. Like what other alternatives can you suggest? They say. And you go on like so oil is off, and you find your kind of option. That's okay. Your suggestion. So, our option is, so instead of oil, what can we suggest? Instead of oil, what can we suggest?
Gas?
Gas? You're thinking like in our solution, but in other countries, I think they have never even thought of using that.
What maybe?
Like if we don't have oil, what are we going to do next? We're going to use some other energy. We have already, but it's not like developed. Solar energy, yeah. So you could suggest solar, or maybe wind. I don't know somehow if you use it, or
water.
Maybe water. But still we need water. I think that's not a good idea. So hydro. Well, depends what. If you're using a boat, maybe. So here it is suggested in this essay that solar power will be a good alternative. And you have to describe the reasons why it is better. So can you notice the ideas? Why this one and that one? Why solar is a good option?
Solar will one day become cheaper and healthier alternative.
So it's cheaper.
Cheaper and healthier.
Yeah, cheaper and healthier than petrol, exactly. So he describes the price, and then specialized skill. How companies producing solar technology. Can you look at the last sentence of introduction? Like it has become specialized. So it's kind of we know that there will be a problem, there will be some issue with it, but we give our own option. It's like you go for a birthday, and then let's say somebody suggested to just give money as a present, but you say, no, let's do not this one, but this one, like alternative. Like they could also ask you in this way, like most schools, let's say motivate kids with grades. Maybe what alternatives can you suggest? It will be not just grades, maybe it will be some kind of travel tickets, or I don't know, some kind of prize, Like what if every term, every semester, they have some kind of a competition and you will be motivated to get it. So it's kind of there's this option, but what other things can you suggest? So you think maybe this one, or that one.
It is a double question.
Yeah, this is called double action. Yeah, because you describe. Here they give you two questions. What future resource do you think will take oil's place? Why do you think this is? So let's have a look. Can you read the first paragraph?
Firstly,
Yeah, firstly, please.
Firstly, the power of energy produced by oil is almost equal to that energy produced by solar waters. For example, a recent study published in Scientific American magazine predicted that the rising price of oil energy and the falling price of the solar energy would meet in
Just hold a second, don't rush. So, whenever you read the first body, always ask yourself, like, why is he or she giving this? So first, he's giving the reason, describing it, almost equal to that of energy produced. For example, to prove this idea, and then continue. Yeah, go on.
What this means is that from 2020 onwards, it would be more economical for a person to fuel their car using solar energy than it would using oil.
Yeah, so he's making like logical reasoning, saying that this means people would benefit more. And
as people are driven by price, it's clear how solar energy will take the place of oil as humanity's next major energy resource.
Yeah. So now it's like proof. It's kind of like, therefore, solar energy is a good option, he's saying simply. And the second one, Magdalena, can you read?
Secondly, as solar technology develops, it is becoming a much more versatile energy producer. For instance, traditional solar panels were larger, square boards that had to be facing the sun directly to produce energy. Today, solar collectors come in all shapes and can be
contoured
to fit a range of product design from the rounded
exterior of a car
to the back
to the back of an iPhone.
This flexibility is yet another reason that illustrates why solar energy is fit to take over oil as the world's top energy source.
That's right. So, in the secondly, what kind of idea is presented here? It's becoming more versatile. What do you mean versatile? It has like different, let's say, features. Yeah. And it can be used in different ways. You can make different panels. So to prove this, to explain it more in details, he gives you some examples. Panels. Yeah. He wants to say that you can use it everywhere, on a car, I don't know, on the roof of your house, or on the back of your iPhone. Any phone. So today solar collectors come in all shapes and can be contoured to fit the range product design. So you see, they can be contoured. You know what's contour? Like contour. If you know, when you were at school geography, you hated this subject, making contours. Yeah, you remember? Yeah. Why you're crying? Yeah. You start crying. So it can be designed specifically for you. Like you want to make it for your bag, they make it for your bag. If you want to make it for a phone, they make it on the back of the phone. So simply, if I want to use my printer, I just put it in the sun, put it back, and can use. So it can be made in any shape. So this is what he means by this, how companies producing solar panels have specialized their skill. Yeah. And this flexibility. So again, you have to prove. You remember, whenever you conclude your body paragraph, you have to say like, this explains or this proves that this is a nice idea or this is a great option. And the last one? Can you? Yes.
After looking at both its increasingly competitive price and versatility, it's clear why solar power will replace oil. For the sake of the world's health, it's hoped that transfer happens sooner rather than later.
So you see very clear points. So, in simple terms, yeah.
Well, there is only one opinion that only solar energy. Yeah?
It's not an opinion, it's saying.
I know, but.
You want to give opposite?
No,
what?
I mean.
No.
If she had another alternative to not only one.
Not only one. You see, the question is, what future resource do you think? Not resources, but resource. You see, they ask you for one. So it's kind of, they ask you for one thing that you think would be much better. Yeah, that's why he takes solar as the main and describes the reasons. So what I like in Ryan's style writing is that he always does this. Like whatever there's introduction, when he comes to planning, he always outlines his plan. Like he said here, the price and how companies can specialize it for anyone. You see? They're describing like shortly this. And he described this AB in details, right? He gave idea, he gave example. There's some extra explanation and proof, right? So here the same. And proof is kind of like proving that that's why this is a good idea, like when we choose solar. That's why solar is the best, that's why solar is the best. Last sentence. And in the end, when you have a conclusion, again, AB is described to be useful. So solar energy will be very utilitarian for the reasons of AB, price, and how it's shaped. So when you learn the summarizing everything, you know, that's why I like this style. When you make this ABC kind of a, let's say, theory or theoretical style, or the rule of ABC, I usually follow this. Like, I outline my plan, I describe my plan, and I again summarize my plan. You will need this, you know, everywhere, not only in writing. Whenever you study at university, you will do some research paper stuff, right? You will describe what you're going to do, then you will do that analysis of collecting data or something, and in the end, you will again shortly repeat what you did and what you got. Because if I just give you my outline and give you introduction and conclusion, it will not be clear, right? So it's like kind of you explain step by step. So another topic on the back side. So it's also called double action because they give you kind of two questions. Sometimes, you know, you can experience some kind of weird essays, like, you know, which you have never maybe experienced. Whatever essay you get, do not panic. First of all, if you see those two questions, you should, in introduction, you should answer those questions. Like here they said, what alternative? Solar. Why do you think? He gave two reasons, you see? So whatever question, you know, sometimes they can give you even three questions, like what alternative can you suggest? Why is this? What are the effects maybe they even add? Or what are the benefits? Or what are the possible disadvantages maybe, you know? So you don't panic, you just answer those questions in introduction, and then you start proving them step by step. So here it was like, let's say solar and idea A and B. So he did like solar is good because we have this reason. Solar is good because we have this reason. Now let's say if you had like three questions, they would say like, okay, what is good like this one? Then some kind of reasons, and it's, let's say, outcomes or possible disadvantages. Yeah. So you'd also describe like solar energy is good because it's like that. But however, the possible disadvantage could be this. That's it. And in every body paragraph, you will just explain in details, and that's fine. Whatever essay you get. I mean, you'll be doing maybe other types of essay anywhere, university or somewhere else. Because mostly, everybody wants to just fit into kind of a frame, into a template. Like, oh, okay, I know how to write opinion essay. Nowadays, firstly, secondly, la la la, yeah? And suddenly you have something different, and you're like, what to do, yeah? Harakiri. So, here, let's say, in order to improve country's education system, young students should be allowed to openly criticize their teacher during class time. Fantastic. What is your opinion? What are some other ways the education system could be improved? So, you give your opinion first, like it's good or not or bad to criticize, and you suggest other ways in each paragraph. So can you look through and look at the introduction, how the plan is outlined there? Does he agree or disagree? And what A-B ideas he's suggesting here?
Schools to and teaching matter.
School scheduling and teacher monitoring programming.
So these are the alternatives, right? And it's very clear. The idea that young students should be allowed open and criticize their teachers in an effort to better an education system is considered preposterous. preposterous. What do you think? What does it mean preposterous? Is it a positive word or negative word from context? You can guess it from the body. If you see what he describing in the body, you can see that he agreed or disagreed.
Disagree,
Mm-hmm.
because he gave another options to improve education system. So, preposterous means negative.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So that's the power of context. Yeah, you don't need to jump into dictionary. So can you now highlight and underline those ideas how they're described? You see, he finds ideal structure to have two body paragraphs, but I would prefer to have 3 or 4.
I get home at 6. I make the dinner. I go to bed at 10. What's life?
So, can you tell me what are the points mentioned and in what kind of way is there a proof given in the end? Mhm. Mhm. So, first, modified school schedule would promote educational benefits in a way that openly criticizing could not. Yeah. For example, means in a school boards run education, so as example given. Overall, students have just as much as holiday time as their peers in traditional school arrangements, but there's not such long education deterring break at summer. And this allows students to mentally retain more of their studies. So he suggests his own way of improving. So because there was suggestion like, let's criticize teachers and we will improve education system. And he's saying like, no, I think we better do this and this instead of your idea. You see, you're kind of removing his or her idea and giving your own. So he believes better make this kind of a short break vacations, right? So they don't forget everything, because usually, do you forget everything during summertime? Yeah, you come back like, where am I? Yeah. What's my name? You're my teacher? Yeah. And so then, this example is, you see what I like in Brian, he always concludes his point. That's very important in writing. This example is clearly a more plausible alternative, which means practical, a useful, good one, let's say, to the argument that students should be allowed to criticize their teachers. So he says this idea is much better than just criticizing. In addition to this, schools should consider videotaping classes to both monitor teacher performance and students. So to set cameras, right, what's happening in class. So this is what's happening right now, yeah, when I'm not watching myself. For instance, I once taught, but I wouldn't strongly recommend to give this kind of personal example, because Ryan is more like American or Canadian. I think he's Canadian, and they prefer to write essays with personal example. They prefer more individualism. Like personally, they love it. In TOEFL, you do it, they love it. But because he is more like, let's say, North American-minded person, he prefers that it's okay. But usually Niles, they prefer to have examples of world. But the best thing would be example of your country. You could say or make out, okay, who cares? Nobody's going to call your school and check it, yeah. And you could say that, for example, most schools in Uzbekistan or universities have monitoring cameras, which are supervised by both, let's say, rectors and security guards, yes, to make sure or to ensure that the class is having productive or that the students are spending their time productively with benefits, right?
And also, can we agree with this criticizing teachers
Uh-huh.
on learning and next for the other ways? Right.
You mean first one, Chris, like partial?
Yeah.
I would better go with one side, because if you take both sides, you're driving yourself into trouble. It's harder to write such a say, when like balanced, because you have to consider that you write it in this way and that way. That's hard. And here it's like, what's your opinion and how it could be improved? So I don't know. It would be hard, really. I think you could, after you write a lot of essays and after you did the university, maybe you could experiment, but I wouldn't risk. I would just take one side. It's for the matter of your score. So just take one side and explain it. So what else? And parents can watch you. And this sort of education adjustment would do more for improving child's education than open student criticism of instructors. Thus, the plausibility of this alternative is clear. You see, he always concludes this. This is what I like. Some essays do not conclude. Some essays just finish with like, for example, la 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 la, and that's all, and the body finished. And you're like, why did you give me this example? It's like, for example, I like chocolate. For example, we'll have a shop. And you're like, why the heck you talk about the shop and tell that you like chocolate? And if I say I like chocolate, for example, there's a shop which sells such cool chocolate. You should go and buy it. That's why I advise you this. And you'll be like, oh, that makes sense, right? Because if you just give an example and disappear, that's kind of what happens, right? And the last one, the conclusion. Can we conclude that both scheduling, both of them are possible in class transparency? So these are A, B ideas, you see? Scheduling, he wants to say change the schedule. Class transparency, which means everyone can observe the class over cameras. What do you mean transparent? My glasses are transparent. If I wear black, like sunglasses, right? You cannot see me, but I can see you. No. Transparent means like I can see through the wall. You see, there is the glass. I can see what's behind it, but the door is not transparent. I cannot see what's behind. The transparent means so everything is like clear, lucid, yeah, and you can see clearly what's happening. Positive alterations to the current education system. Yeah, the word alteration is good, like change or something new. Sorry?
What does it mean, system of public ridicule?
Public ridicule. Public ridicule, he paraphrases criticism. Because if people criticize, it's more like you're mocking them, you're making kind of a public, how can we say, you express your dissatisfaction in public and you could ridicule them. Like, he wants to say that criticizing is ridiculous. If in class, like you start teaching something like, okay, you're a loser, you're a stupid teacher or something, that wouldn't be good. Yeah, there will be some jiu-jitsu stuff going after. Makes fight. So it is thus hope that these changes gain support in the foreseeable future. This is his favorite phrase, foreseeable future. All the essays you will see, always foreseeable future, foreseeable future. So, because many people also try to use this in the foreseeable future, sometimes they do it consciously and unconsciously. I think you better say in the long term, or in the nearest future would be better. Then you wouldn't give a feeling to the exam like, again you learned this essay of Ryan. I have seen also somebody, the Cambridge tests designer, Colin Cullen, so she criticized about this, that many students are putting the phrase, American theory plays a great role here. And some people just put it without, blindly, like they don't know why they're doing this. Because why? It was in the book of Ryan. There was one kind of example. So there's some theory, and they're putting this theory everywhere without knowing why. And she said, like, do not just copy paste examples, yeah, specific examples, like how you can copy paste, because each example is individual. So here's another topic that we could discuss together to think over. So nowadays, the way people interact with each other has changed because of technology. In what ways? So the two questions you should be very careful here. In what ways has technology affected the types of relationship people make? So which means you have to outline kind of here. And has this become positive or negative? So which means you will be finding like in what ways technology affected. You could say that people became maybe more introvert. People became, how can you call them? Can you call them that they are arrogant? I mean, maybe they check out your photos on Instagram before talking to you. Like if they see you're traveling somewhere in Dubai, like, oh, hello, my friend, how are you? Cotton, right? But if you are just in a simple photo, for example, my avatar picture in Facebook hasn't changed for like 2-3 years. Maybe some people think I'm dead. Because you know what, when the avatar doesn't change in person, you think like, are you alive? Because some people just change their avatars daily, right? Or every minute sometimes. Some kind of words and some kind of mottos. But I noticed, you know, one thing. I had like students like study hard and get 9, or keep calm and get 9. Those guys are often the laziest. Really, I noticed this. You know, they can get kind of a help. It's kind of contempt. You know, some kind of a emblem, like some kind of a. I don't know, like you have your lucky coin or lucky sock, you know, maybe they think that. So if you have time to change your hours, then you're wasting your time. You're like, so just focus on studying. You can have one motto for yourself to tell yourself, like I say, no pain, no gain, that's all. Simple, clear. I like short, you know, mottos. I don't like 3-kilometer kind of motivation words. So what I was saying, how it changed. So it made people introvert, maybe less socially. Yeah, people prefer just to chat online, like, let's meet and sit. Like, oh no, let's just sit here and discuss Game of Thrones. Let's discuss how smart we are. Yeah? Arrogant, so many people become arrogant. So do you have some friends who are really addicted to internet? They become crazy. I have some friends who, if I call, they never pick up, but if I text them in Telegram or Facebook, they answer. Like, what's happening? Maybe they have a bad voice on that day. So what do you think? In what ways it changed? How people now communicate? What I also see a bit find strange, some people that you maybe worked many years ago, or you have studied many years ago, they like fall like snow, like they suddenly fall from the sky, like, hi, Sam, you know? And well, even if I was doing this, I would say like, oh, hi, how are you? How is your life? What you doing now? What's news? Oh, you know, I want to ask you one thing. Can I do this? But some people just fall from the sky like, hey, hi, I want to know something about Webster. How much I should pay and what should I do? And I'm like this was what they do, you know? I mean, if you have been away for a long time, you cannot just come suddenly and like, oh, tell me about this, okay, get out. Like, okay, your contact, like, and you receive the information, like after you got contact, after you receive all information, I delete your contact and go back. It seems like that, you know? And I was like, come on, man, like, first of all, you should say, hi, what's news, right? Like, thank you that you said hi. I had such a classmate at school too, that he used to call me home, and he was like, hey Sam, like, oh, and like, what's homework, like, and I said this, and like, no hi, no bye, you know, like, hello? I thought maybe it was a line cut. So, this kind of people. So, in what ways people change? Maybe they become too concerned about taking photos, huh? By the way, there's Instagram maniacs, you know, they take photo of everything they eat. I always want to ask them, why don't you take a photo of what you eat and what you, after you eat? What happened? Before and after.
Yes.
Before and after, yeah. Press, yes.
Maybe they try to seem like what's it? And other ones maybe to show their life from the other
best
corner,
side, yeah.
best side.
Getting likes.
Yes.
Oh, you remember that challenge? Like real life and internet.
Yeah.
Like, I love that. Like an internet, like cool guy, like beautiful.
Yeah.
In real life, sitting like as well. But that's true. Yeah. If somebody comes suddenly to your home, you're sitting in your like pajamas, like your hair is like this, and you're having some strange lunch, yeah. And it's messy at home. And when you go to somebody's home, you think like, oh, look at them, how clean. My house is a mess, but everyone has a mess, guys. You know?
Yeah.
Everyone has a mess. Nobody has always clean house, unless there is some kind of person who's watching you with a gun. Yeah. So, in what ways it changed the relationship that people have? Maybe they have friends, online friends, and real friends. They kind of make difference. Do you have some friends who you talk more online rather than face to face? Because they are far away, or because you don't want to see them? So how it changed relationship? People start showing off, I think, more because they take photo. Look at me, I was this in the rest, and they always take photo in the toilet. 5 minutes ago, I lost weight, or something like that. Yeah.
Why he puts the time on different words?
Now everyone is posting their iftar
Yes,
or
but it's not true. Yes.
my friend, not my friend, my girlmate, always, every day posts the time. She's counting 3 hours left, 2 hours left, 3 minutes left. I don't know why. And I have, yes, I asked her and she was like, injured, hurt because of my question. I did screenshot, sent her and said, why? Why are you posting day by day? Why do you need it? And then she said, it's for people. And I asked, are you keeping it or not? Or just for fun or just for people you are posting shit? And she said, it's a people thing. If I keep it or not.
Oh my god. In our religion, it's not right because if you said, people don't have to say
It's crazy about the Israeli. At night she posts at 3
Oh
o'clock,
my god.
at 7:30 she posts, or we are eating, or we are doing nothing.
Does she do something else? Maybe just sleeping at Instagram.
Posting every time. And recently, one girl also posted stories, iftar time, iftar time, and she's at the bar, in the bar,
Oh my god.
steam bar, in Sabat.
Which one?
Steam bar. There are waiters, like, I don't know, who goes in this skirts with her, and she's doing iftar there, where people drink.
And they also tend to
Okay,
like
okay.
food.
So what other relations? So how has this become positive or negative? I think there are more negative sides, yeah. But let's look positively at this. Let's say people who are distant find each other. For example, like as soon as I got internet in my home, it was like back in 2005 or 4. No, it was 2018. You had to wait to download 5 megabyte music. You had to wait for 30 minutes, and it was fast at that time. Imagine, there was dial-up. You dial, you call, then it calls you back. you remember such moments? How old are you? Like, I feel myself so old. Do you know Backstreet Boys? Yeah, Michael Jackson. Who was that? Yeah. So at that time it was like this. So internet was like really, sucky. And what happened? I found my friends who moved away like in 2002, and it was already 2018, so 6 years passed. I found some friends in Moscow, some friends in US, but I still couldn't find some other friends who went to Germany. I tried different names and I knew the names for names. I'm typing, still cannot find them. But I found some of them, and we started kind of talking after some time. Well, I wouldn't say we're very close, but just in case if I move to US, maybe I'll see them or somewhere else. And plus my mom, she found all friends, I think. She found all friends from the whole world. Someone is in Dubai, somebody's in Greece, somebody's in Italy, Spain, US, everywhere. And you see, and they started chatting, and some of them came here to visit. They met on birthdays, on some parties, So in a positive way, you could say it made people more coherent. You could say that it has positive influence because people of same interest became friends. For example, over Telegram, I got acquainted with many teachers of IELTS in English. Really, there are some teachers who I never met in face-to-face even still. But some of them I met on internet, and I met them in real life. And so, for example, if you're dealing in designing, so you could find designing people. If you're a programmer, you find the same kind of people. And plus, LinkedIn, you could describe also LinkedIn. Have you heard of LinkedIn? A very cool source. It's kind of a Facebook, but for potential employers and employees. So whoever enters your profile, and if you are have open profile, they can see your resume kind of. They see what you did, like bachelor's, master's, PhD, and there's information. And for example, if I'm friends with you and I know you personally, and I can give some recommendation about you there, like Nilufar is very smart, or Mahina is so helpful, and Mukhlis is so nice. Let me talk about this, because if I talk about one girl, I know two girls will hate you. I know that psychology of girls, like after 1 hour, like a dead body found near education center. Who that could be? So, and you can write recommendations to each other to support each other. And I even found some kind of foreign professors who did PhD, like English language teachers in the US and different places. And I just tried to send a friendship, maybe they'll accept. Because before they accept, they enter your profile and see oh, he's also a teacher. Maybe he wants to do something, right? To collaborate. And they accept mostly. So it's kind of a community of professional community. This kind of same sphere people can meet. Plus, you can see lots of things people share, like they share, oh, here's the website where you can practice for free, learn Python programming, or here's the website where you can study SAT for free. Yeah, there were lots of things, they share a lot there. So, and yeah, so have you written down? So, technology affected relationships. How? Simply how. Or I can give you the screenshot. So, in what way technology has affected the relationships people have? And is it a positive or negative?
She won't come.
Great.
Because it's gone and the relation.
Who cares? But this essay is rare, but still, what I like, it kind of prepares you to be ready for any kind of essay. So whatever essay you see, sometimes they can give you in 3 questions. So simply it's very important to answer in the introduction to the question. Because introduction should clearly outline what you're going to do. Sometimes people make 2 sentences, I know there are some suggestions in essays like, just write what you agree. Some people, start the essay like this. I agree that education should be free for the following reasons. First, there's 1 sentence introduction. It's kind of like, you start watching a movie from the middle. There should be some kind of beginning, Paramount Picture present. Right? And there's like minions standing on the backside, like, ta-da, right? Illumination, right? There should be some kind of introduction, right? So it's very important to start something general, like nowadays or at present, technology has, let's say, a significant role in modern society, and it is suggested, or this technology has affected people in different ways, specifically how, like, let's say they made them more coherent and united, let's say, and united the interests, like of same interest. Yeah, we could give these two. So look, coherent makes people coherent. Let's say they are like more, they talk more often. Professional people, and what else? One more positive thing. Or maybe finding old friends, but it's same like first. Any other ways technology make your relationship better? Oh, maybe it can make your relation better, in what way? Like if you're
Maybe educational purposes.
No, it's mainly about relationships, yeah. So maybe if you're married or you have boyfriend, girlfriend, yeah, like where are you? I'm at home. Like, send me a photo. Now I believe you. So you make many photos beforehand in different clothes. Yeah. No, they can say this one, like, okay, please send me a photo and show two. Or hold the pen and take a photo, And you're like, oh, I gotta find the pen here. Or something like that. I think this could happen. Kind of improved relationships, or made relationships more firm, maybe. So any other ways? No, well, not this way. This is a strange example.
Sometimes people meet on, I would say,
online, like
online,
yeah.
After some time.
Yeah. By the way,
meet
making
and
introverts
have further
more. Yeah.
Do you have Zoom problem?
Yeah, Zoom. Yeah, I know, but it's not about this dating stuff. Zoom is just about having online class. You have used it, or you use it for what?
I used it, but without.
I use it for what?
I was doing presentation about Wyoming University, and there I was with one woman who works.
Did she make a presentation over Zoom? Really? Like 2 days ago? Or 3 days ago? It was on Monday. This Monday, right?
No.
Because we were also invited to go to her presentation on Monday. She was talking. So she was talking about Wyoming University, how to apply that stuff. Oh no, we had a topic.
She came to library national with one native.
It's interesting. Yeah? The person comes from US and was like,
Yeah.
they touch American respect. Oh, you smell differently. Very fresh. So, yeah. So, it's important to be able to share useful knowledge. Because sometimes when you go to different presentations, some people share the general thing that you can find on everywhere. They don't give you some specific, For example, they should give you some kind of practical tips. Like if you have this, it's okay to do this. But they will say, like, okay, first of all, you should write cover letter. Oh, really? Then you should write, I don't know, what do we write usually? Personal statement. What is personal statement? Sounds like, wow, here's something difficult. Personal statement means just describe what you are, how did you come to this until today, like how did you develop into this? And some people start like, when I was 3 years old, I was playing Lego, and I love building and something, look at this. Because the person should catch. I have seen many videos on YouTube where people describe this, but most of them were describing general useless stuff. There were some people who shared really useful things. You should attract from the beginning, because they're searching for people who are like underprivileged, like poor or didn't have any chance, and you're like, ta-da, please come to us to study because you're so unique and you have no opportunity to pay for this tuition yourself. And so I was playing, when I was 3 years old, I was playing Lego, and after that I was interested in engineering, and now I'm studying engineering at university. That's what they do. And the same one girl started like she said like I didn't know what to do. This is a Russian girl talking about her scholarship story. Like she said like first four words was like cold. Yeah. No, can you imagine? You're reading different kind of this essays. Like I always wanted to be a leader. I always tell myself,
I dreamed
and
of
it's cold. And you're hot. Cold. Hot. So she starts like cold, and then she said darkness, and she described the village where she lived, kind of like so the person who's watching you starts crying maybe a bit, and like, oh, let's give scholarship to this person.
My friend also was applying for some kind of university in the US, and he didn't shave for 2 weeks
What?
for interview. They had
So that was
online
a boy,
interview.
right?
Yeah.
Because you said friend, and I expect like a female has a female friend. She didn't shave her. What? She has mustache. Okay, so why? What was the purpose of?
I don't know.
Why did she grow?
To have this, how to say, scholarship.
You want to say that I don't have money for shaving myself?
Maybe.
We can offer you a knife. Yeah, like ancient times.
He found some strange T-shirt.
Oh, really? So on the intro, you should go like a homeless guy. What if you have like just a box on you, no clothing. Hello. I was using phone of my
Is it
friend.
work classes can they?
I'm not sure, but maybe it affects. Whenever you give scholarship, like for example, who would you give scholarship to? A person who is kind of not rich but has some money, also has good resume, or somebody who also has good resume and other stuff, but very poor. You will say, let's give a chance to him, right? Or her, because they deserve it, and let them try in real life, yeah. Maybe. So this girl started with like cold. I think we could also start like this. If it's winter, yeah, when at home you don't have any electricity, and you could also have cold, darkness, no hot water, but I paid. Start like that, some kind of ironic. So the first sentence should somehow really catch, their attention, because there are so many applications, and the beginning should be somehow, shocking. So the same with any kind of essay. And so why we were talking about this? So you want to try some sort of double action question? But it's a rare one. Do we have some time? Yeah, we do. We started late. We can add some time, can we? So, okay, I'll share this video later. Don't worry, you're not there. Just me.